Hello YouTube, Byron with Splitting Slices, and today I would like to do an unboxing video of 4 knives that I purchased for myself at the Victorinox factory store in Ibach, Switzerland. My wife and I just returned from a 2.5 week trip across Western and Central Europe. We had the opportunity to visit 6 different countries, many different cities with rich multi-year cultural history, thousands of years old. Got to see some great architecture, meet some fine people, including the factory store staff in Ibach. So today I wanted to basically unbox these 4 knives and share them with you, talk about their specifications, and then later I'll do a review video on each and every one of the knives. Before I get started, though, I wanted to thank the staff at the factory store. They included, with our purchase, some bonus gifts of their luxury fragrance and perfume line. So the first sample we got was of the Victorinox Forget Me Not fragrance, which is right here. The second one is called First Snow, and we have a sample of that fragrance. And finally, we have an aftershave lotion and perfume, which is called Wood. And so we're not going to try or open these up today, but I did want to shout out the employees and tell them thank you for those bonus gifts. We'll take a look and try those out at a later date. What I'm going to do is pause the video, unbox the 4 knives, and then we'll get into it. So stick with me. All right, I've unboxed the 4 knives, and they are here in front of you now. The 4 knives that I purchased, we purchased one Santoku chef knife. We purchased 2 pocket knives from Victorinox. The first one is the Red Scale Fisherman. The second one is the A-Lock Scaled Swiss Army 2 pocket knife. And finally, I purchased a folding lockback hunter knife that is part of the Evoke series. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about each of these knives, their specifications, and what you can expect if you would purchase those. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Santoku chef knife. Now, this knife is part of an overall series of knives that Swiss Army and Victorinox call their Wood Culinary Series. Now, this is a 2023 knife. They run a different series of knives each year, and this is the 5.5-inch bladed Santoku. Now, this blade is fluted, which means it has grooves milled or ground into the sides of both the knife on both sides. These grooves or flutes are to help reduce surface tension between the slices of fruits and vegetables and will aid you in having those slices fall away from the blade as you cut. So it is considered a luxury item to have this on a chef's knife. Many chef's knives, both custom and production, are starting to include these flutes as it does aid in slicing fruits and vegetables. The overall length of this knife is just over 9 inches. It has a 5.5-inch blade. It has a 4 to 4.25-inch wood handle. The knife is not a full tang, but is about a 3/4-inch tanged knife. So you'll notice it goes all the way to about the last inch of the handle. It does not come through to the bottom side of the wood, but is wide enough to have 3 rivets or pins run through the tang and hold on both scales. All their knives in this series are manufactured the same way. Now, this is just one of the series. You can also purchase a tomato knife, a steak knife set that is serrated, a Santoku, which is this knife. You can purchase a carving chef's knife, which is about 8 inches blade length. You can get a serrated bread knife, a pastry knife, and finally a carving fork. All of those knives are made the same with the same handle construction and the wood toned handle on the culinary series. So again, this is the Santoku chef's knife by Victorinox. All right, one of the first 2 pocket knives that I purchased is what Swiss Army calls their Fisherman SAK. Now, they make a sister knife to this one that is called the Angler, and the difference between the 2 knives, The fisherman includes the scissors, where the angler includes a pair of needle nose pliers. So depending on what tool you would like, that would determine which knife you would choose. Now this multi-tooled knife has a total of 17 tools. It is 4 layers, which means there are 4 layers of different tools installed in the knife. The first layer has a small flathead screwdriver and a can opener. And then on the other side, it includes a large flathead screwdriver and a cap opener. The second layer contains the scissors. The third layer has a fish scaler with a combined hook remover fork at the end of it. And finally, the fourth layer has the main blade, which is approximately 3 inches long of stainless steel. And then on the other side has the smaller pen blade, which is located on this side. Now on the reverse side of the knife, there are several more tools. You have a reamer with a sewing eye. You have a parcel hook. And finally, you have the center located number 2 Phillips screwdriver. So I'll go ahead and open that to show you that it's located in the center of the knife. So it gives you a little more torque if you have to actually screw, open or close a screw. You get a little extra torque on the knife by using it as a T-handle. And this knife also includes the standard tweezers and toothpick in the end, and then finally has the key ring. So a total of 17 tools. Also has a wire stripper included on on one of the tools. So a complete set of multi-tools for your use. And this is, again, the Victorinox 91 millimeter or 3.5 inches overall fisherman with the red Celador scales. The third knife I purchased was the Swiss Army 2. Now this is a jackknife. It has 2 blades, one 3-inch long stainless blade, and then the second blade has a smaller half hawk, or what Swiss Army calls their pruning blade. So there's the pruner or half hawk. Now I wanted a knife that was similar in length. This is 92 millimeters or just over 3.5 inches. I have extra long or extra large to 2XL hands, and I find that basically a 3.5-inch pocket knife is the optimal for me as far as both carry and use. So I wanted a knife that didn't have as many layers, but was overall the same length. So I purchased the Swiss Army 2. And finally, the last knife I purchased is a Folding Hunter knife. Now this is called the Ibach BSH Folding Lockback Hunter. Now, BSH is a 3-worded Swiss phrase that I am not going to butcher and offend the Swiss trying to pronounce, but in English, it translates to black oxide-coated clip point knife, clip point blade. So here's the knife when we open it up. It has a 4-inch stainless steel black oxide-coated saber ground clip point blade. That saber grind, it's flat for 2/3, and then notice it goes into the last third, goes into its main and then secondary bevels. The handle is about 4.5 inches long for a total length when opened of about 9 1/8, which includes that lanyard and end pommel. It is a lockback, so the blade does lock into place and can be then actuated by pressing down on the lock, and it will close. Has a full carry pocket clip on this side. And then finally, it has what Victorinox calls their navy camouflage A-LOX scales. And it has a really nice gray and black and blue camouflage tone. I just wanted a lockback knife that was a big hunter like this. I wanted this knife primarily because it reminds me of one of my favorite all-time folders, the Cold Steel Recon 1, which is also a 4-inch clip point bladed knife is one of its options. And this most reminded me of that knife, but in a Swiss design. So this is the Ibach BSH Lockback Hunter. So those are the 4 knives that I got while I was at Victorinox. We purchased a few others for family and friends gifts. But these were the 4 that I decided I wanted to keep. Again, I want to thank Victorinox and their employees at their factory store who showed us around, allowed us to film. I'm going to be editing that film, and hopefully we'll get that video out here within the next week. But until then, thanks for sharing these with me. And this is Byron from Splitting Slices saying, please split a slice with a friend soon. Thanks for sticking with me, folks. Take care.